Hey folks, welcome. I thought I'd give you a quick overview and rundown of my first impressions of our new McConks board. It's not going to be a review because I'm not really in a position to be able to offer an informed opinion. I don't really get exposed to enough boards to be able to compare and contrast this to the Star boards or the latest red paddles. So this is going to be my first impressions of a board which I've purchased with my own money, and give you a bit of the thinking behind why I've gone for this board in particular and what the particular features are that have made me go for this board rather than some of the other ones that are available. So to get an understanding of that, first we need to have a think about, well, how have I got to this point? So Chloe and I have been SUP boarding for almost exactly 5 years now, and very quickly fell in love with it and went out and purchased our first boards. Now, like a lot of people, our very first board was the red paddle 10-6 all-rounder, and it is one of the, if not the most widely used paddle board in the world, for a very good reason. It will do pretty much anything that you, a bit of everything that you want to do. It is a true all-rounder. And that board, or those boards, were great for us. We had that for 2-3 years. We're using it primarily as our only boards for year and a half. And we did a bit of surfing, we did some overnight camping, coastal trips, all sorts did as well. But as I became more confident and more experienced in paddleboarding, realised that, and I signed up for a Great Glen event, realised that the all-rounder wasn't going to cut it for going very long distances, and that's when I moved on to the red paddle Explorer, it was called at the time. It's now the Voyager, but it's pretty much the same board. Long touring board, designed for going long distances, putting kit on it, overnight trips and whatnot. Chloe decided that she wanted her own Explorer board, so we went out and purchased one of those. So that gave us the 2 Explorers and the 2 all-rounders. No, in fact, Chloe sold her 10-6 in order to get the Explorer. So then we've got an all-rounder, a 10-6, and the 2 touring boards. I then sold my 10-6 to get a hard board, a hard surfboard, and also went out and bought a full-on race board. So now we've got a race board, 2 Explorers, and a hard surfboard. And it's around about this sort of time that Chloe starts to get thinking about, well, what sort of paddling are we doing on a regular basis? And every Saturday we're going along to Lossiemouth and we are just mucking around, doing skills. We're also doing catching some little waves that are coming in there, and now and again we're getting out and going and do some river stuff. Now I wouldn't take the hardboard down the river, and the tourers, whilst good at going long distances down rivers, are not really great for mucking around, and for those little skills on a Saturday, just mucking around in the little lagoon there, it's the big boards are just a bit clumsy and a bit unwieldy. So Chloe says, I quite fancy getting another kind of shorter, more fun board for rivers, for surfing, and for mucking about on. So this is where I begin my search for a board which will fulfill those criteria. We want to be able to have some fun splashing about on it on a Saturday morning. We want to be able to take it into some little surf, and we want it to be good on the rivers. And having done some various research on looking at the alternatives, red paddle, McConks, aqua play, starboard, we plumped for the McConks. And let me give you an overview of the board itself, and then I kind of point out the features that attracted me particularly to this one overall. So as you can see it behind me here, it is the McConks Go Wild. It is a 9'3" board, 33.5 inches wide and 8 inches thick. Full length deck pad, and as you can see here, It is completely covered with handles. There are handles everywhere that you can think of. The middle handle, the front and the rear are covered in neoprene. The other ones are just kind of simple webbing. Shape-wise, this board has been designed primarily for whitewater. It's got a good bit of width, so it'll give you a lot of stability, and being 9'3", it's really in the shorter end of the length range, which would make it very maneuverable and good for just playing about in white water. And the thickness, the 6-inch thick, means that as opposed to the 10-6 red paddles that we had, which were 4 inches thick, we should find that we were able to eddy in and out without the water catching an edge and kind of flipping you off. And another little nice point here is at the front we've got a screw-in attachment point for a ram mount to get the GoPro going on there. So a reasonably standard kind of short all-roundish type board on the top with the extra handles and extra bits and bobs. But it's actually when we flip the board over that we start to see the real things that kind of attracted me particularly to this board. So there we go. So this is where it starts to get quite interesting. The board profile, so there's a reasonable amount of nose rocker. There's a little bit of a tail rocker too. And it's at the tail we've got a myriad of fin attachment points, and indeed the board itself comes with an absolute ton of fins. So we've got a standard full length US box in the middle, and then 4 FCS clip fin boxes there. So we can connect any sort of fins that we choose to. It comes with set of 4 2-inch FCS, set of 4 4-inch FCS, a 2-inch US box, and a 4-inch US box. But obviously, any of the fins that we've got from our tourers and whatnot, they will also fit in here as well. So you can go for a quad setup, you go for a 5-fin setup, go for a thruster, whatever your heart's desired. And that just gives you an awful lot of flexibility. And I'm going to talk to you a bit about where we've had the boards out so far already. And I'm really becoming more and more aware of how much a difference the fins that you're using and where you place them have on the handling of the board. And I feel validated in having gone for this setup over when I compare it to like the red paddles fixed fins, and some of the other manufacturers will just maybe have a single large fin box in the back. I think this really does give a lot of flexibility. The other aspect that attracted me particularly to this board was these kind of plastic rail elements on here. So one of the big elements which mean that inflatable boards don't perform so well in the surf is because of their rounded rail edges. And particularly with a board this thick, you've got no way of kind of catching an edge or kind of being able to carve into the side of a wave. Now, this board, along with some boards I've seen from Loco, their inflatables have this as well. Gives it, it's a rail which is attached to the side, and it gives it a bit more of a defined edge. Now, I'm under no disillusion that, or illusion that this is going to equal the performance of a dedicated hardboard in the surf, but it is going to be better than just the standard rails themselves. And in fact, we've had these boards out twice so far. The most recent time we took them along to Sand End and had them out in maybe 2 foot surf, nice quite clean surf, and this board was set up in a thruster setup handled so much better than the Red Paddle 10.6. It was just kind of night and day. Now, my skill level when it comes to surfing has improved since I've been using those in the surf, but I could definitely feel a big difference in the ability to be able to pick a direction and be able to surf along the side of the wave. Haven't been able to get these out onto white water yet, so time will tell. I'm so far very encouraged that it's ticked the box for playing about in small surf that I wanted, and time will tell when it comes to how it performs in white water. The first trip out with these was over at Shieldig. We'd gone over for the weekend, taking the boards just on the off chance that there was a chance to get a paddle. And on the Sunday, we got a glorious, calm, flat day. And we decided, well, might as well get these out in the water. And ended up actually taking them quite a long distance. We covered about 3 miles, coastal, paddling on flat water. Now for that, we put in a long touring fin. And despite the relatively shortness of the board, they toured really well. And with a long fin, it again tracked better than the all-round 10.6. Now, I wouldn't take this board in preference to the Explorer or the race board for a long coastal journey, but at a pinch, it worked. And I think this is what is, to me, cementing the fact that fin choice does make a big difference, along with a lot of the other aspects. Like I say, it's McConks board. They only sell direct, to my knowledge, and I've got this as a pre-order. So if you go to their website, you can see that you can get this package. Oh, I'll talk about packages in a moment, but you can get this, which comes with the board, the fins and the bag, for $6.50. But if you're willing to pre-order, and their pre-order that they're doing at the moment runs up to order now and they'll get in April, you get like up to 200 quid off. So we did a pre-order running up to, for this one, and it meant it's 450. So when you put that into the context of some of the other boards that you're looking at, so if you look at the Red Paddle Flow or the Starboard range of boards, you're looking at less than half price for those. So for the boxes that we wanted to tick, so far it has ticked every one of them, and it's been at a very, very competitive price. I am in no way associated with McConks. I'm getting no sort of kickback or promotion on that, but I'm completely happy to sell out to them if they do want to offer some sort of sponsorship. Oh yes, that was the other thing I wanted to say. Sorry if this is getting a bit rambly. So that package, $450, was the board, the fins and the bag. And whilst a lot of other packages will come board, fins, bag, paddle, phone case, leash. So the reason they don't package a leash with this is, being a whitewater board, we've obviously got some particular concerns around appropriate leashes, and they don't want to get people going out in the whitewater without knowing what it is, and that's fair enough. Paddle, I already have plenty of paddles, so not having a paddle in the package means that the price is less without me getting a paddle that I'm not going to use, so I'm absolutely fine with that. The bag is a nice bag. Again, the bag is not ever going to be a huge selling point or negative point for me. The bag is just somewhere it gets stayed. It's got nice wheels, I can wheel it back and forth, but honestly it could come in a potato sack. The main thing I'm interested in is how good the board is, and this is where I've seen some of the bigger review sites knocking off like half a star because the board didn't come with a waterproof phone case. You can pick up a waterproof phone case for 15-20 quid on eBay. So I would rather a package, and this, I think more people will find this as you're getting into SUP boarding, a starting package is great, but as manufacturers, maybe you need to start thinking about not everyone is going to want that starter package every time they buy a board. So when I bought the race board and when I bought the Explorer red paddle, I ended up with extra gear that I was paying for and I didn't need. So I'm wondering if the manufacturers are going to start doing inflatable board only deals, because that's the sort of thing that people who are buying a second or third board are going to start thinking about. So if that was a bit rambly, but I thought I wanted to give you the kind of context and my thought process. I will keep you updated. We've got the GoPro mount on the front of this, and I'm looking forward to getting some footage on some river, getting some more surf. So please stay tuned, and if you've got any questions about it, just give us a shout. Right, we'll catch you later. Bye.